Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. This is Joker. And today we're going to be talking about why nice people are really unattractive and scary. And this is an article by Rotten Wildflower. If I'd like to meet Rotten Flower in person someday, because she seems a lot like me, but she's a woman. And she kind of teases women on their bad actions as well. So I like her. I like reading her stories because it kind of is like me, but coming from a woman. And that way I can say, hey, if you don't like my opinion, I'm quoting a woman. And I know she's a woman because I've seen pictures of her, and she got kicked off of most of the women's blogs traditionally, where you see these women's stories, because she got so many complaints from feminists. So I know. Before we get into that, though, very quickly, I wanted to talk about my next video. You guys, again, you YouTubers will not notice a difference, but over on my betterbachelors.locals.com is where I'm going to be putting my most spicy videos, where I can use any word I want to, even the bad ones. But I can also talk about stories that I can't talk about here. And I'm gonna show you how bad YouTube is getting. Now, a lot of you guys say, hey, just put your stuff over on BitChute. I've already got it backed up on Library. But the reason why I don't is because BitChute does not have any advertisement on there. YouTube does. So YouTube, not only does it get me more views because more people are here on YouTube, it gets my information out to more people. I mean, there's nothing worse than working on a video for like an hour and a half and 4 people watch it. I've got some videos that have like 100 views over on BitChute. But here, more people see my stuff, and that's important to me. And secondly, yes, I do get ad revenue from YouTube, and that way I don't have to sit here and pound on donations, and I don't have to sit here doing like sponsorships. I really try to avoid sponsorships. As a matter of fact, I think the only ones I've done in the last like 8 months is one from Aaron Clary and his books, because his books are great. And I'm going to have another one here shortly as soon as I finish reviewing the latest book he sent me. So YouTube pays me to do this for you guys. And the way you pay me is by watching the video, and you get a little banner and you close it, or this pops up or that pops up, and it pays me a couple bucks. So we all work out. But when they demonetize something, then it pretty much goes away. Well, the video I did on Cardi B's divorce was fine. It made it through all the filters and everything, and I'm going to get to the main story in a second. But I want to give you guys this update of why some of my stuff's going to be over for my supporters over on BitChute or on Locals. So my Cardi B divorce thing went up. It was fine for the first 28 hours, and then somebody manually reviewed it, and they marked it as not appropriate. And I said, that never happens. Like, usually it's the reverse. Usually the computer will catch something in there, and then I have a human review it, and they say everything's okay. So I reached out to YouTube support. This is what they sent me. And I'll just read through it real quick. They say, thanks for reaching out for us over chat. Here's an update. I just got an update from our internal team regarding your video, and here's what I can share. Your re-review request cannot be set to allow advertisements because it contains excessive amount of spicy, suggestive scenes that are above brand safety thresholds. Now, if you watch the article, or if you watch that video, all I did is show articles from like TMZ. That's it. No risque photos, nothing. No scenes, no video, nothing. They say the inclusion of these scenes makes the video suitable for limited monetization, which means that some or no advertisers will appear on your content. Most advertisers will not. You may earn less revenue, a lot less, on this content because fewer ads are likely to appear. And they follow it with this: content that features highly spicy themes is not suitable for advertising, with limited exceptions for non-graphic intimacy education videos and music videos, stating that your comedic intent is not sufficient and that content may still not be suitable for advertising. For more information about this, please kindly refer to this article. I'm sorry, I don't have good news for you today. Now, the thing is, I don't remember any jokes or anything in there. I went back and rewatched it. I didn't really say any jokes that were over the top. You guys know I'm really careful about my words. I think I'm like the most careful YouTuber on my words. The only thing I could think of was my thumbnail. But I've had them kick back thumbnails before. Like, they will remove it and they just use a generic scene from my video, and they'll say, just to let you know, we've updated your thumbnail. It wasn't appropriate, but your video is normal. And then I can correct the thumbnail and re-upload it. But the thing is, number one, Cardi B's photo is not inappropriate. Number two, I edited all the bad words out. So I don't know. But here's why I complain about this stuff. Because here you can see on the left, this is my Who Cares Cardi B one, and there's a normal swing, and what happens is it kind of does this, and over time it slowly gets lower and lower, but it still rolls between usually 500 and 1,000 on my videos forever, which is why I've got a video that's 6 months old that's got like 1.2 million views on it. Now, other ones, they go lower than that, but you can see here, the minute they mark it for demonetization, my work is done. Like, no one's looking at my video anymore. And here's an older one that's even older. You'll see to the right of that. That's the one where I was talking about guys on Tinder winning by not being on there anymore. You can still see that's ranging between 500 and like 1,200, even though it's an older video where the other one just went flat. Here's why I care about that, because it means that all my work went for naught, and those of you that are subbed see the video, but those that don't subscribe don't get it recommended in the news feed like normal. Now, if you saw it in the first 24 hours, you did, because it was still monetized. But once it's unmonetized, that's it. It disappears from suggested videos to anyone. That's what upsets me, is it means all my work doesn't get viewed by people, and it makes me feel like I'm just wasting my time. But anyway, the stories I'm going to be moving over to my other channel are the Bachelor's Local. They're going to be the ones about student teacher. They're going to be ones about inappropriate stuff and laws, and because those are the most important ones that I definitely want people to see, but I want to move them over there so I can say the words. Otherwise, I'm dancing around words every 3 seconds, and you guys laugh at me because you don't understand what the heck I'm talking about. Okay, moving on. Why nice guys and nice girls are severely unattractive, and this is from Rotten Wildflower, and I like it. And she makes good sense in here. When I first saw this, I'm like, oh, okay, that's a really interesting title, but her point makes sense. And we're going to read down through it, and you'll kind of see what she's getting to. She says, let's look at the dating stereotypes for a second. Men love beaches, sandy beaches. Women love jerks. This is pretty much a universal truth, and even though that we say we want someone who's extremely nice, attentive, and caring, our actions say otherwise. Many will say, oh, it's just because they're confident and so widely desirable. And yes, for that, sure, that is a factor. However, today I would like to present with you a slightly different perspective. And this is a good perspective. I think she's got a point to this. Most of you will have heard of Carl Jung and his theories on integrating in the shadow self. It's something Jordan Peterson talks a lot about. Essentially, every angelic positive trait of us has a demonic and dark counterpart. Problems occur when we refuse to accept the existence of our demons and we try to evade, run away from, and end them. This very action frequently leads us to reality evasion and substance abuse because we cannot cope with reality. Knowing just how flawed we really are, we think that we are dirty, inadequate, wrong, and unlovable for having massive demons within us, because we believe that they have a firm grip on us. So how does this relate to the sandy beaches and jerks? It's simple. They were courageous enough to face, make peace with, and integrate their shadows and demons. So here's kind of the idea behind this, and I think it actually makes sense. If you guys are familiar with the uncanny valley, the uncanny valley is when you watch CGI in a movie, you watch a robotic doll, you watch a pageant kids, like the little kids that have like really perfect photoshopped in teeth and airbrushed makeup, and they look they're supposed to look pretty and they're supposed to look very human-like, but they're not quite there, so it hits this weird creepy factor. And so they have it like cartoon anime, and they have human. You're up here. That valley is what it means is that the more something tries to get closer to humanity, the more creepy it gets. And then when it gets really close to humanity, where you can't tell the difference and it's really good, then you're back up here based like at the same level. So you have to nail it or you creep people out. Well, I think this is the kind of same thing. It's there's also a scientific paper that I once read about why men and women actually, but mostly men, prefer blondes over brunettes. And part of the reason and why people like people with tans, like a natural healthy glow versus being very pale. And apparently blonde hair helps highlight coloring in the skin, which makes it look like a healthier skin tone. And it's something to do with the like lizard brain, old school, from way back in the annals of time, where people can naturally tell when something's a little bit off with something and it makes them uncomfortable. So the whole premise is that people that are too nice and are too presentable, and even when they should get upset, don't, it makes people uncomfortable with them, and it makes them unattractive to people because people know they're not being genuine and they're not being real, and therefore they don't know what happens when that person gets real. And I'll talk more about this in a second. She says, I would argue that some have reached the state of chaotic harmony, which is something we both envy and admire about them. Thus, we feel severely drawn to their very existence. We don't love them despite them embracing their demons. We love them precisely because they embrace their demons. What's attractive about this nice guy or nice girl? Nothing. They're cowards who keep running from their shadows in a hamster wheel, while their shadows and demons tirelessly continue to chase them, while having a firm, suffocating grip on their very existence. Moreover, they are dangerous. You have no idea how much repressed anger, resentment, hatred, and fear lies within them. You have no idea how destructive and crushing it will unleash someday. It's like the quiet kid who never stands up for himself and always sticks to his nice guy facade, only to go into a school and go blazing later on down the road. This is a very extreme example, but nonetheless, it shows just how horrible repressing your own darkness can end for you and others. Now, if you guys remember the video I did on Tommy, however you want to pronounce it, Tomi Lahren. She's Miss America. She's Miss Conservative. I'm on the news, and I'm prim and proper, and I'm a good girl. And then all of a sudden, she got her heart broken just right, or she got the old someone did the old in and out too many times and cast her aside, some bad boy, and she went off. She didn't go off on just like the people that did it to her. She went off on America, all men in America, on Facebook, and she was really condescending and rude and ugly. And so she might be a very good example of this, where it's, I'm nice, I'm bubbly, I'm sweet, I'm pretty, look at me, and then right. And same thing when people are, like I always say, people don't marry mean, vindictive, awful people. People don't date mean, vindictive, awful people. But I do remember, and it happened even like in the 90s when a buddy of mine and I, he was seeing a girl. She was really cool, really funny, really interesting, very pretty. And I remember he had a Honda Acura. He was so excited because I think he was like an E5, E6. He was older than I was. And he'd worked really hard and saved his money and bought a pretty nice car. It was used, but nonetheless a nice car. And he broke up with her. And she went bananas. Like his pager and his home phone, because this is before cell phones, his pager and his home phone were blowing up with her constantly. And she'd come over at 3 a.m. and be pounding on his door, complaining that she knew he was in there with another girl, which he probably was, because that's how he rolled. But and then he went out to his car, and she had dragged a key over every part of that thing. That's the same girl that'll make an accusation that maybe you did something, even if you didn't. But you don't necessarily know they're that type of person in the beginning. And this is what she's talking about, I think, that the people that seem to be always nice and nothing upsets them, and they've just, oh, it's okay, no problems, and they don't stand up for themselves, and they don't show you who they are, that makes people leery. It makes them afraid of them because it gives you that, I don't know, something's wrong here. She says, our shadows and demons aren't bad or evil. They only become destructive when we try to get rid of them. Think of it as trying to stop the sun from setting. You will only end yourself in the process. You can't get rid of them, but you can make peace with them. So these sandy beaches and jerks make peace with their demons, though doing so, they control them. I'm throwing the sandy ahead of that because, again, I don't want YouTube to think I said something wrong. We love them because a tamed beast feels much safer than a fake nice creature who hasn't yet realized how sharp its teeth and claws are. A fake nice person will realize his or her own capacity for venom, either day in the most unpredictable and destructive ways, or just simply not be fit enough to defend him or herself from the dangers of the world. Those who evade making peace with their demons get controlled by them in unpredictable, destructive, and impulsive ways. And it's happened to me. It's happened to my friend before, where again, you're like, oh, they're so nice. They like the things. They're chameleons. They know how to mask and pretend and get along, and they mimic your hobbies, and they mimic your personality, and they mimic the things that you love. Like, oh, they might not like, I don't know, they may not like working out, but if they find you're really into working out, they may do that. I've always wanted to teach me. Let me learn. Oh, I love when you teach me these things. You're such a great instructor. You're helping me so much. I can't believe that you're awesome at this. And wow, you're really athletic. And they just draw you in. In the meantime, they really don't care. They think they care. They think they want to learn these things, but it's just to draw you close. I think that may be one of the factors of this. So always, and she ends it up here with the last sentence, and then I'll finish this off. Visualize whatever demon is haunting you, and then sit down and feed them the same way you'd feed a guest or a friend at a dinner party. This has a healing effect. It represents accepting the worst part of ourselves and developing compassion for ourselves. So I'll put it this way, is that I think it hits that weird uncanny valley thing. So if there's somebody that just seems, and if you aren't aware of this, you can get sucked in. Because I've been in those relationships, and I did not see this until I was in way over my head, and I went, holy crap, this person is nutso, and they're freaking out, and they're making me uncomfortable. And could you notice some of these things in red flags? Yes. That's why I do these red flag videos every once in a while, because somebody that kind of love bombs you, or says, wow, I've never met somebody like you, or yes, I love motorcycles. I mean, I've never ridden one or been on one, but it's always interested in them. And let me have a ride on yours. And, oh, that was the most fun ever. And they suck you in. Well, I have found that the most reasonable people that I know that I get along well with, and that I'm friends with, and I found my own life got better when I stopped being overly nice and I stood up for myself. Instead of being shoved in a corner, if somebody says something disrespectful, most of the time I'll just say something like, look, Will, you say whatever you want, but I don't have to stand here and listen to it, and I'll move on. It doesn't mean I have to get angry. It doesn't mean that I have to get into a shoving match. It just means that I'm not going to let you disrespect me. And you just move on. But you're putting up border walls. You're letting people know, hey, you can proceed no further. I will not accept this, and I will not put up with it. And I think once you do that, you're not a formless mass of all acceptance and everything is nice, and then you lash out one day. You put up your barriers and you say, nope, that's as far as you get to go. This is it. You don't get to encroach anymore on my feelings. You don't get to insult me anymore. All of that stuff. So, guys, let me know what you think of this one. Let me know if you've encountered this, if you've dated this. I think some of you have married this, where everything was fine and dandy and sugar and spice until one day you woke up, the mask came off, and you went, holy cow, I didn't see this coming. They were super nice, too nice. That's the big key. Not that they were super nice, but they were too nice. They didn't set up their boundaries. And then when it all came crashing home, things got bad, and they got bad in a big way. Let me know what you guys think of this. Guys, if you'd like to support my work, links are below as always. If you have, thank you very much. Best way you can support me is like, comment, share, subscribe. And check out my bachelors.local.com over there, betterbachelor.local.com. I'll be putting some videos up. May not be in the next day or two, but in a couple days, I'm going to get some of the more interesting videos over there, and I get to swear. Oh, exciting times. All right, guys, that's it for me. This is Better Bachelor. I'm Joker, and remember, if they're super nice, if they don't set boundaries, if they're overly kind, let the warning bells go. Maybe there's something back there that they're repressing, they're ignoring, they're not letting come to the forefront. And when it does, it may be a tidal wave of anger and hate that you're just not ready for or willing to deal with.
Well, hi there, Mr. Clean.